What's very critical here is to see that generative AI is right at the peak of the hype. So what does that mean? As it moves through the different stages, next stage is, as they call it, pro of disillusionment, slope of entitlement, and then plateau of productivity. So as we follow the hype curve, let's go back last 15 years or so. Back in 2008-10, we saw the emergence of cloud computing. And it took several years, mainly last decade, for it to become mainstream. And at this point, it is far beyond plateau of productivity. Likewise, and the emergence of cloud computing and its maturity has in turn helped many other technology trends. In last 10 years, we have seen IoT, then we have seen blockchain, which then morphed into Web 3.0, NFTs, and so on. Then we saw digital twins, metaverse, and all of these technologies have gone through similar hype curves. And it's useful to see their trajectory because that might help us foresee where Gen AI might be going next. So in summary, technologies go through the hype where everybody's excited about it, everybody's investing in it, and then they realize that it takes a lot more before it can return business value. And some of them sort of fizzle away, like we have seen relatively downtime for Web 3.0, NFTs, and so on. Even Metaverse is yet to deliver its promise. Likewise, it's quite natural to see similar trend for Gen AI. Now, what's different though is the underlying technologies that power Gen AI, software, hardware, and the skills. So deep learning has been around for a long time. It's fairly mature. The hardware acceleration of compute, like the GPUs, that is fairly mature. And then the AI skills have been around for a long time. So the three basic ingredients supporting Gen AI are in very good status. And that is very positive for Gen AI. However, on the business value side, that is what will eventually drive the long-term sustenance of any technology trend. So in the past, we have seen cloud computing evolved a whole new class of business, such as the asset-less business like Uber, Lyft, Airbnb. They were really powered by cloud computing and other technologies, connected consumer, connected cars, and so on. And they encashed and totally revolutionized the automobile industry. Likewise, in healthcare, FDA is already talking about software as medical device or AI-powered medical device. So it has the potential of revolutionizing, just like we have seen success in some of the prior emerging technologies, to change the trajectory of the industry in next several years.
That makes so much sense. It also, in a way, means that the ecosystem is now ready with AI skills, as you said, that have been around for quite some time now. The platform capability, so much new things coming out from companies like NVIDIA to get there. So I think the timing is right, which I think has also fueled in the pace at which Gen AI has reached to where it is, because the ecosystem is ready for that disruption to happen in one industry after another. So thanks for bringing that perspective in. I want to quickly, stop sharing my screen and I want to jump to Maria before I jump over the chat. Maria, I've been speaking and meeting to so many people. I know you were at the United Nations Assembly just I think last week, and you told me that you're meeting data scientists, and I'm sure there are a lot of questions coming to you, a lot of curiosity that's already there to get started with generative AI. So why don't you tell us what are the top 2-3 challenges that people face or hesitate getting in there, and what's the right way to think about getting into generative AI?
Yeah, a very good question. Thank you for that. Actually, the perspective of a company and individuals is quite different. Companies will handle it somehow because they have, I will be very open on that. They have loads of money, they have time, They have resources to catch up and to use the tools that are available on the market or create ones of their own, right? However, the topic that or that I discussed at the United Nations General Assembly was how to transform 500 millions of people that are the workforce and how to do it smoothly, not to, let me say, for them not to get stuck in the old times, and how to use the technology that is waiting for them. And this is a challenge. No country, no region doesn't know how to, right now at least, how to transform masses of people, because this is what Gen AI is bringing us. And the challenge is not the technology itself. We assumed, like, I'm in this business for almost 10 years, and I've seen the creation of Gen AI, I've seen the rise of transformers, so on and so forth. We knew that this is coming. We are prepared. 14 million strong community that I work with is prepared. However, other people are not. And with all my due respect, data scientists in the companies, they are just a small piece of the puzzle. And everyone else around, managers, business-oriented people, like everyone working in the company, they need to understand the power of Gen AI. They don't right now because they assume that Gen AI or AI is ChatGPT, and that's all. This is where the world ends, right? This is not true. We all know it. So in my opinion, the main challenge is the AI literacy and Gen AI literacy for people to use it and to be able to adapt it to their business. So I'm not saying it's the data, no. The hardware, no. I would say that the main problem right now is people catching up with what's going on and adapting it to what they know so they can actually use it for the benefit of their business. If they don't do it in time, they will be released. They will be kicked off from their own companies, right? We don't want that to happen. That's why we're discussing how to do it and how to not catch up with the technology, but how to catch up with people, what to do with people.
Makes sense. Thank you so much for making that clear to all of us, Maria. I've got two questions from the chat. I'll take the one from Lauren King. It says the training part generates the bias from the quality of the data that you ingest and use for the input. What is the best method to solve that? Dennis, would you like to take that one up? You're on mute, Dennis.
Okay, I can answer that, or Clint wanted to answer that. So I'll answer that. So we're talking about training transformers, right? Okay, and we're talking about data sets, hardware, and models. So the first thing we have to realize is that generative AI has to be broken down into AI and separated from generative AI, because a huge part of AI is discriminative AI. When you're classifying images, if you're trying to say this is a dog or a cat, that's not generative AI, that's a discriminative AI. So on top of that height graph, we see generative AI, but I see it as a buzzword, because all the way at the bottom where I work, it's industry 4.0. And so let me give you an example of what I saw a few years ago is a food processing industry that uses AI as discriminative. They're just going to scan food to see if it's good quality, bad quality. They're going to scan products, organize products, schedule products. So we're talking about machine to machine with no humans. Okay, so in this environment, data is accumulated automatically. You have barcodes, you have things going on in industries. You have Siemens doing this with windmills. Data, huge amounts of data, like Maria was saying, corporations have that power. So they have huge amounts of data. So once you have that huge amounts of data, how are you going to train the model? Do you have $10 million? Do you have 10,000 GPUs? Are you going to go to Hugging Face? Then you're going to have Clint, who's working on cybersecurity, to say, you're going to send your data to OpenAI or to Google Cloud? No way. If you're working in the air, I'm a social engineer, Clint. I can see you smile. So there are huge privacy problems. So I'm not going to send data to anyone. I'm going to use a closed platform, possibly AWS or maybe Google, whatever. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to train a model. I'm going to do extremely evolved calls to the system. And I'm not going to call them prompts because it's done automatically. So what I did is I had data coming in automatically, scanning the data automatically, and then writing huge calls to the system. Like when people write a prompt today, you take GPT-4, you have a messaging thing where you can put a lot of data. I mean, so you have the first thing you do is don't train it. Try to use a model and use it the right way, because that's the most effective way. Then if you want to fine tune it, you can try to fine tune it, but that's going to cost you, that's going to begin to cost. And you have no guarantee you're going to fine tune it every morning because the data keeps changing. Now, if you want to train it, good luck, because you're going to have to train it every 6 months if you're on the supply chain market. So I would say the first thing would be to try to use the model at its best with huge, I would say, prompts for this conversation, but they're not prompts. They're just function calls. And don't forget this very important thing, that the transformer, like the transformer is this, like the transformer, and the ecosystem around it is that. I'm speaking in classical software. You have to write all the input, you have to tokenize it, then it goes through the model, but at the end of it, you just have a huge controller that's going to work on discriminative, generative. So we're talking about a complex subject that I'll be dealing with in sessions on Friday. So you know me, Manish, so I'll stop talking now. Otherwise, everyone's going to fall asleep.
Thank you so much, Dennis. That was really useful and informative. I'll move on to the next question from the audience. Could you touch on difference between traditional AI and generative AI? I'll keep it open for all four of you. Any one of you could just pick that up and go for it. The difference between traditional AI and generative AI.
That also sounds like a Dennis question.
Okay, so I registered my first AI patent in 1982 for word embedding and word encoding, which is now in fashion. And then in 1966, I registered my first chat patent. And I did those patents to make sure that would be there in terms of history of AI, because I knew that AI would work. And I had a very successful career through the AI winters because I didn't even know what it was. So traditional AI is here, and it occupies a major part of AI. And we're talking about expert system and rule-based systems, and everyone has them in their smartphones everywhere. I would say traditional rule-based expert system AI is everywhere and still used, and it's incredibly used. So it's if you, going back to my previous example, when you get out of a transformer, it's over. You're not in generative AI or discriminative AI. You're back to classical software with filters. Like I saw a question going about with hallucinations. We have packs of filters. We have files where we do this software stuff with queries. So traditional AI, I would say expert systems and rule-based. Then you have machine learning, which has been around for a long time with like clustering algorithms, extremely efficient. I mean, they're extremely efficient. They're widely used. If you're talking about maintenance on airplanes and things like that, they're pretty precise. So machine learning is there. And then you have, I would call sequenced AI, which we call generative or discriminative or transformers. So all this is a big package, and all of this is used, and you'll need all that. You'll probably need machine learning to get your data straight, and you'll probably need expert systems and rules to get the rules. For example, when you go to Bing and you type something with new Bing, notice it's going through a rule-based system. It picks up your request, and then it does a classical search with its old algorithms. And then when it comes back, it will come back with either discriminative or generative AI and give you an answer. So I would say classical AI is very alive, and I would say classical software is still 80% of the market, and it will remain that way. No one's going to send a rocket to the moon with a generative AI unless the guy's insane. So we're talking about classical software is here for a long time. Classical AI, classical, it's not, it's everything. You put it together. So consider, since we're using the term generative AI, I don't want to be an ideologue, consider it as a turbo of AI. It's just the turbo you're adding to the system.